Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So my story, I guess, in a lot of ways is kind of what you'd find typical of, your average evangelical American, for the most part anyway, or at least it starts off that way. So I was raised in a small Baptist church, small town, central Minnesota. Um, when I was 3 years old, prayed the sinner's prayer, the prayer of salvation with my mother, sort of the typical, I guess, maybe cliched almost sort of experience with your parents, praying when you're 3 years old. For somehow, some way, ended up doing it in the bathroom. We wound up in the bathroom, kneeling over the edge of the bathtub, repeating after her and, asking Jesus to come into my life and all that good stuff. But raised much as your typical evangelical Baptist. Sunday school, Awana programs, growing up, a youth group, Bible studies, all those good things. It was, though, in the summer of 1994, the summer before my freshman year of high school, was kind of when everything sort of elevated up a notch for me. It was in the summer before my freshman year of high school, I joined my youth group in a trip to Washington, D.C. We went to a conference put on by Youth for Christ. It was what they build is a peer evangelism super conference, okay? And it was 1 week there doing seminars, workshops, all kinds of things, but I came back just with an incredible passion for Jesus Christ. Later that year I started what would eventually become an award-winning ministry initiative in my public high school, doing Bible studies and prayer meetings and things like that, eventually worship services. Through my high school years, I ended up doing work with a variety of organizations, ministry organizations. When I was 17 years old, I preached my first sermon on a Sunday morning before the entire church. And so it was cool. Like, I loved it. It was really exciting. And it very much so came to define me. Jesus was my everything. Of course, it made sense then to go to Bible college and seminary and all that. And so following high school, I packed up all my stuff, left my small town central Minnesota roots behind, and came here to the big city of Chicago to this very institute, Moody, and did my BA, my MDiv here. Along the way, started pastored at 2 churches. What started off as an internship at Bethel Church, where you and I first met, became a staff position, part-time pastoral staff. I was the pastoral assistant and kind of pastored the seniors group there for a number of years. Your typical pastoral stuff, preaching, teaching, did some pastoral counseling, funerals, started new ministries, tried to improve upon existing ones, things like that. So did that for 7.5 years all told. And then from there I went to a small church as lead pastor in the western Chicago suburbs. Seriously, all of it, I loved it all. I loved pastoring. It's all I ever wanted to do. Any job has its hang-ups and frustrations, but seriously, I loved all of it. And I loved my faith. I truly, honestly believed everything I preached. The tradition of theological tradition that I held to was very optimistic, big picture, forward-thinking, encouraging, empowering, non-judgmental, non-critical, just very hope-filled version of Christianity. And I loved it, and it was great, until it all started to fall apart. Now we're looking somewhere around the fall of 2010, when I guess you'd say with ministry going very well and just more time to think more fully about everything. I guess just the answers that I used to find satisfying just kind of lost their satisfactoriness. I began to sense more and more just clouds of doubt and things like that sort of vying over and taking over my faith. And like anyone, what do when that happens? Well, you pray. You seek God. You ask Him to restore your faith, revive your faith, heal your faith. And so I would do that. And I prayed and begged and pleaded, cried out to God long, sobbing prayers till mid-hours of the night, just begging and pleading with Him that He would restore my faith, heal my faith, revive my faith. God, You are the God of wonders, and here I am, and I'm trusting in You. God, heal my faith, strengthen my faith. And the more I prayed and the more I begged and the more I pleaded, the more it just continued to fall apart. Eventually it became clear, after 1.5 years of begging and pleading with nothing in return, eventually it became clear that I needed to transition out of pastoral ministry, partly in a last-ditch effort to revive my faith and believe in the existence of God once again. So I transitioned out of ministry the first half of 2012. It was later that year when I came to grips with myself, finally came to accept that yes, I had indeed become an atheist. And then it was the following year when I came out to friends and family, started blogging and writing about it. 2013, resigned my ordination credentials, so I'm no longer an ordained minister. It wasn't until July of 2014 when I discovered the Clergy Project, if you've heard about them at all or seen anything that I've posted online. The Clergy Project has just been an oasis. Now, I didn't come across them, I even realized they were in existence until a full 2 years after I lost my faith and left the ministry. The Clergy Project is a community of former pastors and active pastors who no longer believe in the supernatural. Prior to finding this group, I knew it couldn't be the case, but it felt as if I was the only one who had ever lost their faith. I felt as if I was the only pastor who had ever become an atheist. But here with this group, I found out that just wasn't the case. I found hundreds and hundreds of others. But there, I just found this incredible sense of community and just this network of support. And in reading and hearing the stories of all these hundreds others, I just found this sense of hope that, you know what? Things can be good, life can be good. And now, my life, seriously, I have more joy and more excitement. I feel happier, more joyful than I ever have at any point, certainly during my Christian experience. Yeah, life is amazing. It's good. It's got its hang-ups, it's got its difficulties, but it's amazing, and I love it.